have I got an exciting video topic for you today. For the past few days I've been feeling pretty unwell, so that has meant no recorder practice. But today I'm feeling a little bit better, if not exactly firing on all cylinders, and I thought what better way than to ease myself back into a bit of practice than with studies. A couple of weeks ago I bought my first dedicated book of recorder studies. I've been learning recorder for just over 10 months now, and during that time I've started pretty much every practice session with scales before moving on to pieces. I have played the occasional technical exercise from my Trinity Grades book, but really not as often as I maybe should have done. I've always been quite careful to try to work on specific parts from my pieces that I've been struggling with, maybe a bit that's got my fingers in a knot or that I'm just not managing the articulation well enough. So I've kind of always thought, what's the point in studies? Aren't I just doing that with my pieces anyway? Well, I suppose yes and no. Of course it's really good to practice parts from pieces that you're struggling with, but over the past few weeks it's become increasingly apparent to me that I am just not improving in some areas as much as I would like to be. I've become a bit jaded with some of the pieces I'm practicing, specifically a couple of the pieces that I'm trying to learn for my grade 2 exam, and I think in part that's because I'm playing them so much. I'm going over and over and over the sections that I'm not happy with, and I think that's just led to me feeling like I'm kind of stuck in a rut. So in an effort to try to haul myself out of said rut and to get off this playing plateau, I decided it was probably time to introduce something new into my practice sessions: studies. So the book I ended up buying is by Hans P. Kuning, and it is 30 Simple Studies for Soprano Recorder. The word simple being the thing that enticed me into buying this particular book. So for today's video I thought I would try to play studies number 1, 15 and 30, so 1 being hopefully nice and simple, 1 from the middle and then the tricky one just for a laugh at the end. Study number 1 is the only one I've played before, and then 15 and 30 are surprises for me. I haven't even had a look at them. So these studies look like they're going to be nice and short, so they should be really easy to slot into daily practice. And how I've been approaching them so far is to take 1 study a day, sight read it with the metronome on nice and slow to start with, and gradually build up the tempo. And if I can get the study to a relatively quick tempo and I still feel nice and relaxed playing the study, then the next day I'll move on from that one and take the next study. But if I can't get it up to a relatively quick tempo and still feel comfortable playing it, then I will carry on with that study the next day. So I'm going to start with study number 1. I'm not sight reading this one because I've played it before, but I wanted to include it in the video anyway so that we can see what sort of point these very serious sounding studies actually start at. Because I've played this one before, I'm going to dive in with the metronome at 120, so not super quick, but doable. That was supposed to be low C at the end of that one, it just didn't come out. Can you tell I've had a few days away from my recorder? So anyway, apart from the low C, I would say that this one is particularly aimed at your articulation. There's quite a strong articulation pattern, so playing legato, slurred, and then tonguing for a bar, and then legato for a couple of bars, tonguing for a bar, and I think it's definitely a good beginner's workout for your left hand. And that is the very good thing about these studies. They are obviously designed, is that the right word? Composed, written, They are designed to work on specific areas of playing, so that might be articulation, it might be finger dexterity, tonguing, all of these things that may be passages that you just take out of your pieces, which, although any experience is good and it's all going to help, these things are specifically aimed at working on particular areas of trickiness. Let's have a look at number 15. What does it hold in store? Okay, I'm seeing dotted rhythm and I'm seeing lines above some of the notes. What does that mean? Well, I know the word, I think the word for this line underneath the notes is tenuato, but I'm not sure what it actually means. The little line does mean tenuto? Tenuto, not tenuato. In a manner so as to hold a note or chord firmly to its full value. Okay, so I guess it means don't shorten the note to breathe. I'm going to slow the metronome right down for this one. Let's start with 70. It turns out I have a very sore throat still. I thought I was feeling quite a lot better today. So there seems to be lots going on in study number 15 compared to study number 1, surprise, surprise. So there are dotted rhythms, there's this tenuto line thing, which I instantly ignored and started shortening pretty much every note it fell on to take a breath. There's also dotted notes to be played staccato, and there's lots of slurs. So there's quite a lot to take in on the first run through. I'm going to play it through another couple of times at the same tempo and then see if we can liven it up a little bit. Okay, so I played it once more at 70 BPM, then at 80, then at 90, and I'm going to try it on 100 now. So this one I think is a particularly good lesson in sight reading. I don't know if these studies are really meant to be taken as sight reading exercises, but why not? Because there's so many different commands going on. But again, really good for slurring notes. It's something I'm really bad at, especially if there's more than 2 notes slurred together. I always tend to tongue one of the notes in the middle. Of course, I've come across a new musical term, new to me, the tenuto. That sounds plausible, but a lot of the movement in this one is stepwise, so it's not necessarily a big finger workout. I think this one is definitely all about articulation. I'm going to move on to study 30. I'm going to have to take my jumper off because I've come over all hot and bothered. I dread to think what 30 is like. Okay, so this one is 4 lines of music, so it's a little bit longer. It is in common time and there are some dotted 8th and 16th pairs. Oh good. Slow metronome 60. sometimes the slow metronome makes it harder. Let's put it up a little bit. 70. I won't subject you to me squeaking my way through this. Let me have a couple of run-throughs and I will get back to you. Okay, I've had a couple of run-throughs, I've had some water, I'm still on 70 BPM, but let's see if I can make it through to the end of the piece vaguely correctly. Can I get through the piece correctly? No. But already I'm seeing that this is a good one. When it's sped up, it's going to be very good for dexterity in parts, and again, lots of rhythm things going on in here, lots of tied notes and slurs. So actually I'm really looking forward to working my way through this book. I know I've skipped up to 30 today, but in reality I'm probably going to take weeks to work my way up to it, and I'm looking forward to getting there. For me, I think one of the main benefits of studying studies over just pieces is psychological. When you practice a piece, you're probably more than likely doing it with some sort of end performance goal in mind. You might want to be able to play it for family, you might want the piece for an exam, or you might just love the piece so much that you really want to be able to play it and do it justice. So that means it can be really frustrating when you hit a wall with the piece, when something just isn't coming together as much as you would like it to. And of course with pieces it is oh so tempting just to skip past the parts that you can't really do so well and just play the parts that you enjoy or that you can play well. But with studies, that end performance goal, the pressure of the end performance goal, is removed. You're not going to end up at a family Christmas and your Uncle Roger's going to say, "Hey Lauren, stand up and play study number 28 for us, we love that one." It's just not going to happen. These are for your ears only. So it doesn't matter if you can't play them perfectly every time, it doesn't matter if they sound dreadful. In fact, it's probably good if they do sound bad, because that means you're pushing yourself and your instrument and finding out what you're really capable of. I'm not going to spend a week working through this study book and then find that my playing has brilliantly levelled up by the end of the week. I think these are something that I'm going to include in a lifetime of practice, but hopefully they will feed into the pieces that I want to perform. That's the whole idea of them. 110. Let's not go mad. So yes, lots of mistakes in that. Am I bothered? No! I've got however long I want to work on it, and it's not like I'm going to have to show it off to anybody at the end. There's no pressure. I can just enjoy playing it and bask in the warm glow that I'm doing something to try to improve dexterity and articulation and sight reading and all of these things. So yes, studies. I am a new fan of studies. If for some reason you've enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I make lots of videos about playing the recorder and the flute, and if you pop over and follow me on Instagram as well, I tend to put little short video clips up there. Yesterday, while I was feeling a bit poorly and just wanted to sit down on a nice chair, I decided to try to pick up some fingerstyle guitar, which I've never done before, and my first effort is somewhere over on Instagram if you're interested in that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again next time. Bye!